Welcome back, my luxurious fleet. We got some awesome news on the upcoming IS. I'll see you on the other side of the intro, and let's get into it. There's an article over on Lexus Enthusiast, which is citing a Japanese article from Best Web. I've covered Best Web before. It's really hard for me to cover it on my channel because Google Translate does not do a good job translating Japanese to English. I was able to dig out some information about the upcoming IS, or at least the rumored information that we're getting from this source. So of course it's going to be on a new platform. It'll be on the TNGAN platform, which is shared with the brand new Toyota Crown. And it's going to be roughly the same size as the current IS. I still think it's going to get a little bit bigger just because we really don't know what's going to happen to the GS. I feel like the GS is gone, so the ES can't really take the GS spot because it's a totally different car. Even though they're the same size, from the ground up, it's built for a totally different purpose and audience. The IS, if it's made a little bit bigger, it can still kind of fill the shoes a little bit from the GS crowd. One of the more exciting things that this article talks about is the power plans. So we know we're going to get a hybrid variant, a 2.5 liter inline 4, and that's probably going to be the IS 300H. No difference there. They might be able to increase horsepower a little bit from the current model, but the next motor we're going to see is one we currently see as well. It's the 2.0 turbo inline 4 that produces around 240 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque, and that will be the IS 300. Now this is where things start to get interesting. The naturally aspirated V6s could be going extinct in the IS. No V6 naturally aspirated option. Instead, we might get another 4-cylinder turbo, a 2.4 liter, and I've talked about this one before. I think it's going to have around 290 horsepower and 312 foot-pounds of torque, and that's roughly based off of the 2-liter turbo and its horsepower and torque per liter measurements. So I applied those just with the added 0.4 liter on the 2.4 liter, and we get 290 horsepower and 312 foot-pounds of torque. Now that is going to be the next IS 350, at least that's my guess. That's what they're going to name the IS 350. It'll have a 2.4 liter turbo in it. And that is kind of similar with the current IS 300 and IS 350, is that they're both V6s, but you go from 260 horsepower to 311 horsepower in the different V6s from the IS 300 all-wheel drive to the IS 350 all-wheel drive. We're still going to have about a 50 horsepower difference. Instead, we're going to have these turbo 4-cylinder motors carrying the lineup now. Now this is probably the biggest news that we got. So we know the new Supra is going to be sharing the inline 6 motor with the BMW Z4. The thing is, they might be bringing that motor into the next IS as well, and possibly an even more powerful variant. So the Supra is going to have 335 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. And I think that's, if they do carry that motor over into the IS, I think they'll call it the IS 400. Now, there is a possibility that they don't use that exact spec. They'll use the same motor, but they have a higher output motor based on the same Supra and Z4 engine, and that is capable of producing as much as 382 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. And that motor you see in the current Z4 M40i. So that's kind of what you would call an M performance vehicle. And this also raises the question, is Lexus going to have an F performance line? They have the F Sport line, which is literally just like a trim and maybe fancier suspension depending on the car, and just changes the looks. But they could also be adding an F performance line, which is kind of halfway between the normal car and then an F variant, which, speaking of the fully F variant, it is still rumored to have the 3.5 liter twin turbo from the LS500. I still think that they will be able to increase horsepower on it. I'm hoping for about 450 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque in the next ISF. But we possibly might get an IS 400, or they may call it the IS 400F performance line that would have that Supra motor that's souped up with the extra horsepower, that 382 horsepower. Weight is roughly going to be the same for the vehicle, but it will be down a bit. My guess is they're going to use a little bit of aluminum parts, maybe some carbon fiber. I doubt it in the normal one. Definitely in the F variant, you'll see lots of carbon fiber, and possibly if they make an F performance model, that they would include more carbon fiber there as well. But based off of what we see on this Japanese website, it could have around 3,500 pounds of total weight, which is down about 250 pounds from the current model. Release date is going to be spring 2021, and that's just a guess. Everything I'm going over is rumor, but I do want to go over, nothing's been officially announced. And the next ISF would be sometime in 2022. What do you guys think? Do you think there would be a reliability issue if they used this inline six motor in a Lexus? Initially, I thought that might have been the case, but I saw someone in the comments on one of my videos saying that Toyota has been experimenting with these motors from BMW, and if there's something about that motor that doesn't pass their quality standards, they send it back to BMW for them to fix it and make it much more robust, stronger, etc. It's good for BMW because Toyota's forcing them to make Toyota quality motors, but only time will tell, right? This is all pre-production at this point. We really don't know how great this motor is going to be or how dependable it's going to be. But if they're going to put it in a Lexus, of all things, their nameplate is on the line. And everyone knows Toyotas and Lexus are the most reliable vehicles out there. I think this motor will be much more reliable than people are worrying about right now. But would you guys be happy with that motor in the next IS? I definitely would be. I'm a sucker for BMW performance vehicles. I'm not a sucker for their dependability and reliability, but you know, I think they're headed in the right direction by working with Toyota and Toyota forcing their reliability and dependability to definitely go through the roof. But I'll definitely see you guys in the comments. I'm super excited to see what you think about these new rumors for the next ISF performance, possibly the Supra motor in here, as well as the next ISF. Until the next video, guys, peace.